I am humbled. I am honored, and I could not possibly be more excited to serve as the mayor of Indianapolis for another 4 years.
I love Indianapolis, and I will do anything I can from the Indiana Senate to make it a better place to live.
Your Vote 2019 coverage begins tonight with the race for Indianapolis mayor. Joe Hogsett picking up a big re-election victory, defeating State Senator Jim Merritt 71 to 27%. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us this election night. I'm Brooke Martin.
And I'm Mike Barrs. You can find complete results scrolling right there at the bottom of your screen and at wishtv.com.
So the race for Indianapolis mayor, tonight's marquee matchup. There you see Joe Hogsett, 71% of the vote, Jim Merritt, 27%, and Douglas McNaughton, 2% of the vote. And our team has been covering this all evening long. Julia Deng has been with the Merritt campaign at Prime 47 downtown. We're going to hear from her in just a moment, but we begin tonight with News 8's Jenny Dreasler. And Jenny, Mayor Hogsett addressed the supporters just a short time ago. What did he have to say?
Yeah, actually, Mayor Joe Hogsett, the very second he took to stage, he was in very, very good spirits tonight. But, you know, the first words out of his mouth tonight weren't about his campaign. It was actually about Merritt's. He was very complimentary of Jim Merritt, and he said because of this mayoral campaign, he's now positive that Merritt will have a very strong and positive legislative future ahead of him. But Hogsett's speech, when you really looked at it and broke it down tonight, this is one of the more fluid speeches that we have seen Hogsett give in a very long time. He was very comfortable, very confident talking to his supporters. Hogsett took the lead very early on in this race, and this was the type of win that his campaign tells me they had hoped for, getting 70% of that vote. Now about 200 people packed the theater inside the Athenaeum in downtown Indy at Hogsett's watch party. The crowd very excited tonight, chanting 4 more years as Hogsett won his second 4-year term in a landslide vote tonight. He thanked his supporters and said he looks forward to getting back to work immediately.
No matter where you live or who you love, no matter what party you follow or what fellowship you keep, to all of you, to one city, I am humbled, I am honored, and I'm ready to get back to work as the mayor of the city of Indianapolis.
Now, it was no secret that during this whole mayoral campaign, it got to be a really, really nasty race. It was brought up multiple times here tonight, but Hogsett reiterated during his speech that he took pride in building people up and not tearing them down during this whole mayoral campaign. He also said that he looks forward to working across party lines in the near future. So overall, guys, a very, very big night here for Democrats.
All right, Jenny, thank you.
Well, Mayor Hogsett's Republican challenger, as Jenny just talked about, State Senator Jim Merritt, conceded that election just a short time ago. News 8's Julia Deng was with his campaign at Prime 47 this evening. Julia.
Well, Brooke, a lot has changed for this campaign in just a day. Under 12 hours ago, an optimistic Jim Merritt was telling voters he looked forward to being mayor come January. Tonight, he is grappling with a very different outcome. I caught up with Merritt after his concession speech to ask if, looking back, there was anything he would have done differently with his campaign. Now, he only told me he wished he had more time and he should have visited more barber shops. Other than that, Jim Merritt maintains he was the underdog who did everything he could with the funding he had. And the mood at his watch party tonight was light. Merritt even interrupted his own speech to embrace his mother. She was front and center, beaming with pride, despite his loss with under a third of the total vote. Merritt is not conceding quietly, though. Tonight he continued pushing his road repair plan, food desert solution, and what he calls his black agenda.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the future of Indianapolis. Amen. And I believe in Indianapolis. I believe in the black community. I believe that everyone ought to be at the table. And I will do anything I can from the Indiana Senate to push that forward, and I'll fulfill my promise.
Arrived at his watch party until later in the evening. We weren't able to catch his reaction as those numbers started coming in. I can tell you, though, campaign staffers did not appear to be shocked. They, like Merritt, maintained they ran a top-notch campaign. A few of them indicated they would be on board if he ever ran for public office again. Live downtown, Julia Deng, Wish TV, News 8.
All right, Julia, thanks so much. Joining us now in studio to break down tonight's results is Butler University political science professor Greg Shufelt. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Big win for Hogsett tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a big landslide election, and it really helps him, but it also gives him a governing majority that he's really going to be able to do a lot with in the second term.
Yeah.
We're seeing that swing to the blue side here. Does that surprise you at all?
Yeah, so Indianapolis, unlike a lot of other big metropolitan areas, has had a recent history of electing Republicans. And so the city council right now is 13 seats for Democrats, 12 for Republicans. It looks like right now, if the election holds, Democrats are going to pick up 6 more seats. And so a 19-6 margin, that's a lot that Democrats can do and that Mayor Hogsett can do in a second term.
Do you think that we will see Mayor Hogsett getting more accomplished on his agenda because of that, or?
So it's kind of hard to tell because they were able to do a lot of things in a bipartisan fashion. I think most people, if you pay attention to what happens in city government, it isn't necessarily as rough and tumble or as partisan as what we see in Washington, D.C. So they do find ways to work together, but it will surely be easier for the mayor.
It seemed like Merritt kind of ran a negative campaign. I call it Midwest mean, you know, as far as the ads. But Hogsett even said it was a negative campaign against him. Did that work for him or against him?
Well, I think it works for Hogsett, and one of the things that we can really kind of see right now is that where it looks like there's turnout and where it looks like where there's voter enthusiasm is on the Democratic side. And that's true in Indianapolis, and that's true in a lot of other areas as well. And so when there's a lot of negative races, that really turns off a lot of moderates, a lot of independents, and it doesn't really get them enthused to go vote.
Yeah, as a professor, you are seeing the younger generation coming up, and they have a bit of a different perspective than the older generations when it comes to politics. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I think that they're really optimistic, and they're looking for change agents. They're not necessarily as loyal to a political party, so they're interested in ideas, they're interested in bolder proposals, and so they're willing to kind of go outside the box to find those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's a good thing right there. And they have different interests as well. I know we were talking a little bit earlier, like more about the environment and not necessarily other issues like abortion and issues of that nature.
Yeah, and I think that we've seen climate activists like Greta famously, but we've seen a lot of push for that, for gun control, issues that they think that they're going to be dealing with for generations from now. They're really kind of putting at the forefront of their political agenda.
All right, we'll see where this leads. Dr. Greg Shufelt, thanks so much for being with us tonight.